From meticulous structure to unique character development, to a magical world all of its own, it's time now to explore Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone, here on Story Study. In this video, we'll cover story structure, by far the most important element to any good novel. And while most people swear by the 3-act structure, I'm going to suggest something a bit more complex, called the 4-act W structure, which essentially breaks down a novel into 4 equal parts: the orphan phase, the wanderer phase, the warrior phase, and the martyr phase, which are further marked by 4 distinct points: the first plot point, quarter way through the book, the midpoint at halfway, the second plot point at 75%, and finally the return to home scene right at the end. In addition, we have 3 main points in the orphan phase: the setup, the hook, and the inciting incident, 2 pinch points at the 40 and 60% mark, and lastly the build to the end, in the form of the chase, the confrontation, and the climax. Now don't worry about memorizing these points, we'll be going through each of them over the course of this video. We'll start off with the setup, reserved for the first 20 pages of the novel. Now JK uses 30 pages, but remember that she's got 3 major points to cover. First, establishing the idea of this magical world. Second, solidifying Harry's hatred for the Dursleys. And lastly, showing Harry is an extremely weak character. The points in the setup are the foundation for the entire story, so ensure it's rock solid. Next, we have the hook, basically the point at which the reader either discards the book or keeps reading on. Therefore, this scene has to be dramatic and entertaining, yet still something that could happen in the protagonist's real world. It should change things for him, though not drastically. The key to this stage is ensuring that things go back to normal immediately after the hook. No big changes should occur for any of the characters. From there we have the inciting incident, by far the most important part of the orphan phase of the book. Now this scene has to be absurd and shake things up. It's a protagonist called to adventure and has to come in with a big bang. It should still seem inevitable, though something that could have never happened prior to this point. You want your protagonist to feel how miserable his old, ordinary world was, and how exciting this new, magical world seems. In addition, you also want to set up the challenges of leaving the ordinary world. In Harry's case, this involves leaving the only home he's ever known and joining a new one that seems foreign and often quite dangerous. And so that concludes the orphan phase of our W structure and brings us to the wanderer phase, through the first plot point. Now at this stage your protagonist has left the ordinary world and finally joined the new one. You want to get him making friends and learning about the new world. He's been adopted, and for the rest of this phase should be excited and having fun. That is until the first pinch point, where your hero gets a sudden wake-up call. In this chapter, you want to remind the reader that the antagonist still exists, that he's growing in power, and that your protagonist must respond. In this scene, JK makes use of an action-packed sequence to 1. Showcase the dangers that lie ahead, 2. Mislead the reader into thinking Snape's behind it all, and 3. Bring Harry, Ron, and Hermione together as a group. From here, you want your main characters to start to solve the mystery, though it shouldn't be their life's goal yet, just something they do in the background. For now, they don't think they're in trouble, and so aren't fully invested. And that's where your midpoint comes in and makes things personal. Suddenly, it isn't about danger that you go looking for, but rather, danger that comes looking for you. Your main character can no longer stay passive, and must thus enter the warrior phase. From here, your protagonist is empowered and on a mission, and attacks the problem head-on. You want him now learning everything he needs for the big battle at the end, which in Harry's case involves 1. Receiving the invisibility cloak to get to the Mirror of Erised, 2. Learning how the mirror works in order to see what you want, and 3. Figuring out the connection between Nicholas Flamel and the Philosopher's Stone. Things are starting to look promising for our protagonist, but that's where the second pinch point comes in and reminds us that the antagonist is still growing stronger. We won't dwell too much on this point, but remember to give the reader a visual of the opposing side. Show them planning their next move and gearing up for the big finale, with a few close encounters to keep the readers on their toes. And so that ends the warrior phase and brings us to the martyr phase, through the second plot point. At this point, the pieces should all fall together, and the protagonist suddenly realizes he's out of time. From here on, a crucial change occurs where the protagonist realizes he can't simply attack the problem, but has to be willing to give up his own life for the benefit of others. This message carries on for the rest of the phase, where we repeatedly see our main characters put themselves in harm's way, willing to get hurt. If done well, this flushes out the other characters till it's only the protagonist left at the end, which is ideally what you want for the final confrontation scene with the antagonist. At this point, you better have saved up your grand reveals, things like showing it was Quirrell behind it all and never Snape, or that it was in fact Snape trying to protect him this entire time. Most important, however, is that the climax reveal simply steals the show. It should throw off even the most astute reader, yet seem inevitable given the facts prior. All the loose ends should finally tie in together, and the protagonist and reader suddenly realize the stakes have exponentially increased. From here, everything your protagonist has learned in the warrior phase should help him defeat the antagonist in the martyr phase. This includes knowing the Philosopher's Stone will bring Voldemort back to life, and that despite the allure of his promise, Harry's parents could never really be brought back to life. It's this complete character arc and self-realization that help the protagonist eventually defeat the antagonist. It's not sheer power and might in the end, but simply the choice of good over evil, despite the price. Which brings us full circle to the return to home scene. For the next 10 to 15 pages, all remaining questions should be answered, and if the novel is part of a series, a few can be left unanswered. The important part is that your character returns to his regular life, whether in the new or ordinary world, but is now smarter, more mature, and has learned a new lesson. New friends and a house cup certainly help, but it's the emotional victory that your readers will really remember. If you've achieved all this by the end of your novel, all will be well. Hey guys, thanks for watching this first episode of Story Study. In the next video we'll be looking at Inception, and in particular be talking about character development and personality traits. In the meanwhile, please check out Larry Books' Story Engineering, a book that covers most of what we've covered today. In addition, if you have any questions on writing a novel or developing a story, please feel free to contact me on any of the handles below, or reach me directly on vancebasilio.com. I look forward to your comments and seeing you for the next video.